Hi, this is David from Radon Safe Homes, and just wanted to make another video regarding some more testing information. Last video I went over different types of radon tests and how they work. This video, a short video, will be how to actually place a test. This is for homeowners. This is not for commercial buildings or schools. And so if a homeowner would like to do their own test, nothing wrong with that. I promote it. I wish everyone would test their home every 2 years, which is recommended. But for a homeowner, the best test out there is probably, again, what we call the alpha track. That's considered a long-term test, which goes 91 days to 12 months. I recommend doing it for the 91 days, to 4 months, 5 months, something like that. That's going to give you a good overall picture of what your radon levels are at. And you want to be able to do it during the seasonal change. So starting in the late or early fall, where maybe the windows are closed more, furnace starts kicking on, that kind of thing, and that's through some winter months. Or do it early spring, late winter, where again, windows are closed up, furnace is running, but then after a few months, it's going to be warm out and you can open your windows if you want to, that kind of thing. Some people have a lot of allergies and never open their windows, that's fine. But those are probably the two best times of year to do the test, unless you decide to do it for the whole 12 months, then that's just going to give you your longest data frame to look at. And so where do you test? And this is whether you have an alpha track, again, for long term, or if you have an activated charcoal test, liquid scintillation, that kind of thing, which would be short term, 2 to 4 days typically, so 48 to 96 hours. And the first thing you want to decide is where to place the test. So if you're going to be selling your home, then I would recommend testing the basement right away, because if your basement is in good shape, whether it's finished or not, potentially can be finished off to be used as finished space. The buyer almost every time wants to have that basement space tested. So then I would just go ahead and test the basement. If I have to crouch down, I'm 5'7", I'm not very tall. So if I have to crouch down to get into a basement, to me that's more of a crawl space. That's not going to be finished space. I'm not going to test that area. If the buyer says, well, that's where my kid's playroom is going to be, that kind of thing, that's great. They can test after they move in. That's not fair to the seller to test that area. And I've actually had people come back and have me test areas like that, even a crawl space where kids were going to run, right around on scooters and have a small little play table until they got too old and grew up and grew out of that crawl space. So they wanted to test the basement and the crawl space. And again, that's up to the buyer after they move in. But so again, if you're going to be using the basement, selling your home, then you want to test the basement. Basically, there are very simple things you have to adhere to. Number one, you don't want to be anywhere near the utility area, an open sump pit, furnace, that kind of thing, things that move a lot of air. A dehumidifier running, air filter type system running in a room, that's fine. But you want to have that as far away from that testing device as possible. Things that move air, such as a dehumidifier or an air filter system, can affect the test. And it can like an open face charcoal canister, it can overstimulate it and actually give you false highs. With a radon monitor, if something like that was being used, a lot of air movement can actually get you a false low. Air is moving so fast the monitor can't get an accurate reading. So you want to be away from things that move air. You want to be away from an open sump pit where the radon is going to be higher right there, that kind of thing. The second thing is you want to be minimum 20 inches off the floor. I say 2 feet. So an end table is a good spot. Coffee table is a good spot. A bar is a good spot. And then you want to be no more than 6 feet off the ground, kind of where you would be breathing, that kind of thing. Let's say you have a bar downstairs and you want to test that area. If it's a granite countertop type bar, you don't want to test on anything that's stone. You want to be away from that also. You can just throw off the test a little bit. And that's right on the surface. So if you're at least, a couple feet away from that countertop type material, then again, you're going to be okay. So again, be away from those areas and away from air moving devices. Look up on the ceiling. Is there a diffuser or an air vent on the ceiling? You don't want to be right underneath it. Or is there an air vent on the wall? Again, you don't want to be right in front of it, on a table, that kind of thing. So just things that move air, be away from those. And again, away from furnaces and open sump pits or open shower boxes where you see gravel or dirt, with an open potential future shower type thing where the plumber has a box there with a drain and they didn't seal it off. If that's open, then again, you don't want to be anywhere near that also, because that radon is going to be coming in real fast with that type of open dirt right there. So you want to be on, basically, I tell people, let's get on the other side of the basement from that open hole, then it shouldn't really affect the radon levels that's coming through the concrete in that area. Then you want to be, from an exterior wall, you want to be at least a foot from an exterior wall. If there's egress windows, bedroom windows, basement windows, you want to be at least 3 feet from those also. That's a requirement for testing. And then you also want to be a minimum of a foot from the ceiling. But again, I recommend being within that 6-foot area as far as if someone's walking around, again, where they're breathing, average height person, that kind of thing. So that's the basics, very short and sweet. You can always go to our website, and we have a page that instructs people on how to do a home test to get very accurate results. If you do an accurate home test and use good testers and the lab gets the test on time, it can be just as accurate, if not more accurate, than what a radon monitor can, especially when you do 2 tests. Long-term alpha track, 1 test is fine. If you're doing a short-term test, I recommend doing 2 tests, same time, same location. And if you do that, you'll get extremely accurate results. You would use the average of the 2. If one's way above 4 and one's way below, toss them out. Something happened at the lab, something happened, while it was being mailed, that kind of thing, because you want to go for accuracy. But in almost every case, if you follow directions, put it in the mail fast enough, then the lab's going to get it and be able to give you good results. Usually if there's something wrong with the test, the lab is going to email you and say, test is invalid, something happened with the test, it's just not valid, and unfortunately you have to retest in those circumstances. So again, I'll say that if you're within a half-hour drive roughly, so Oshkosh, Green Bay, even Fond du Lac, really, the Fox Valley area, Green Bay, De Pere, that kind of distance away from our where we work out of, then as long as it's not a real estate deal, not a real estate transaction, we will come to your home with a professional radon monitor and do the test for you. No obligation, no pressure. People always say, what's the catch? The catch is if we find out you have high radon levels and we give you the report to see that, then a lot of people end up fixing it, and we hope they hire us and give us a chance to get the work. And that's why we do it. And it's all about saving lives too. The more people that know about it and test, to me, it's a potential save life, which is the most important thing. So any questions, ask on the channel here below, or comments, and hope you have a great day.